The most dangerous weapons hidden on America's aircraft carriers. Beneath the flight deck of America's most powerful warships is something few people truly understand. Not just jets, not just missiles, but a level of coordinated destruction that can rewrite the outcome of a war before most countries even realize a conflict has begun. One ship, one deployment, minutes of action, and the balance of power shifts. That's why America's enemies don't dream about defeating an aircraft carrier strike group. They obsess over sinking just one, because even a single carrier represents more concentrated combat power than many nations possess in total. And what makes these ships so dangerous isn't what you can see on the surface, it's what launches from them, how fast it happens, and how everything works together as one system. But the most unsettling part comes later, because the real power of an American aircraft carrier has almost nothing to do with size. The illusion of size. At first glance, the numbers alone are overwhelming. The United States operates 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. Each one is a floating city, carrying more than 5,000 sailors, pilots, technicians, and specialists. When fully deployed, that's over 55,000 people operating at sea, before counting escort ships, submarines, and logistics vessels. Each carrier costs roughly $13 billion to build. But here's the truth most people miss. The danger isn't the ship. The danger is what the ship enables. An aircraft carrier is not a weapon. It's a launch platform for an air force that never needs permission to cross borders. And that's where things become deeply uncomfortable. The air wing that breaks the math of war. The heart of a carrier's killing power lives above the deck. Modern Ford-class carriers can generate up to 160 combat sorties per day. That's not training flights, that's real strike missions. Aircraft taking off fully armed, hitting targets hundreds of miles away, then landing, rearming, and launching again. To put that in perspective, many national air forces struggle to sustain that level of operational tempo across an entire week. And this doesn't come from a land base, it comes from one ship moving silently across the ocean. The real nightmare for any adversary isn't just the number of aircraft, it's the fact that these strikes can happen continuously, relentlessly, and without warning. But even that is only the beginning. Because one aircraft changed everything. The fighter you never see coming. The crown jewel of carrier aviation today is the F-35 Lightning II. On paper, it's expensive, over $80 million per aircraft, but cost stops mattering when you understand what it actually does. The F-35 isn't built around speed or dogfighting alone, it's built around awareness. Its sensors don't just see targets, they fuse information from radar, infrared, satellites, and other aircraft into a single battlefield picture. Pilots don't react anymore, they know. Enemy aircraft can be detected long before they ever realize an F-35 is nearby. In many cases, they're already targeted before their warning systems even activate. And then there's the payload. Certain capabilities aboard the F-35 are intentionally described in vague terms for a reason, but what matters is this: adversaries treat these jets as strategic-level threats, not just fighters. The fear isn't the missile itself, it's the fact that you'll never know it was launched. And the F-35 doesn't operate alone. Old muscle with new teeth. Despite all the attention on stealth, the backbone of carrier air wings remains the FA-18 Super Hornet. These aircraft are brutally versatile. In a single mission, they can engage enemy fighters, strike ground targets, and return to the carrier without reconfiguration. They carry precision munitions, air-to-air missiles, and a 20mm cannon capable of shredding both air and surface threats. But in recent years, something new arrived on carrier decks. A weapon that quietly changed engagement distances forever, the AIM-174B missile. Derived from the proven SM-6 design, this missile allows carrier-based fighters to engage targets at ranges enemy pilots never expected, Aircraft that once believed they were safely outside the danger zone suddenly find themselves being tracked and intercepted at extreme distances. And when these missiles are launched, escape is not guaranteed. Because speed alone isn't the threat, it's the fact that American pilots can now control the fight from farther away than ever before. But launching aircraft is half the equation. Getting them into the air fast enough is what truly breaks opponents. The launch system that controls time. Older aircraft carriers relied on steam catapults. The Ford class uses something very different: electromagnetic aircraft launch systems, EMALS. Instead of brute force, EMALS uses precise electromagnetic control to launch aircraft with less stress on the airframe while delivering greater acceleration. That means heavier payloads, faster launches, and quicker turnaround times. But the real advantage is tempo. Aircraft can be launched faster, recovered faster, and sent back out before the enemy can reorganize. This isn't about raw power, it's about exhausting the opponent until their defenses collapse. And nowhere is that more visible below the deck. The hidden machines that keep the war moving. One of the most overlooked systems on modern carriers is the weapons elevator network. Older carriers relied on a small number of slow mechanical lifts to move munitions from deep storage to the flight deck. Ford-class carriers have 12 advanced electromagnetic weapons elevators. These systems move tons of missiles and bombs in minutes, not hours. Aircraft land, rearm, and relaunch at speeds that overwhelm enemy planning cycles. This is how pressure becomes collapse. But none of this works without vision. And that's where the real coordination begins. The eyes that see everything. High above the carrier strike group flies one of the most important aircraft in naval warfare, the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye. This isn't a fighter, it's a flying command center. Its radar can detect aircraft and missile launches hundreds of miles away. It tracks threats, assigns targets, and directs friendly aircraft in real time. Every movement in the sky feeds into one shared picture. When enemy forces attempt to hide, they're found. When enemy forces attempt to jam communications, something else appears. The aircraft that fights without firing. The EA-18 Growler doesn't need to destroy targets physically, it destroys systems. This aircraft specializes in electronic warfare. It jams radar, disrupts communications, confuses guidance systems. Entire air defense networks can be neutralized without a single explosive detonating. Enemy operators suddenly lose situational awareness, missiles fail to lock, command chains fracture, and while confusion spreads, American strike aircraft move freely. But even with all this dominance, carriers are not defenseless targets, because getting close is a gamble few are willing to take. The last lines of survival. When incoming threats slip through outer defenses, carriers rely on layered protection. The most recognizable system is the CWIS, the close-in weapon system, a 20mm Gatling gun capable of firing 50 rounds per second. It creates a literal wall of metal designed to shred incoming missiles moments before impact. Beyond that, systems like Sea Sparrow and rolling airframe missiles intercept fast maneuvering threats using radar and infrared guidance. This isn't one shield, it's overlapping probability. And increasingly, those threats don't come from traditional missiles, they come from the sky in swarms. The drone problem and the American response. Modern conflicts revealed a new challenge: cheap drones. Instead of wasting million-dollar missiles, the U.S. deployed counter-drone systems like Coyote and Roadrunner. These systems eliminate small, fast threats efficiently, preserving high-end defenses for high-end targets. It's a simple principle: never let your enemy dictate your costs. And this logic extends into the future. The fighters that no longer need pilots. The next evolution of carrier aviation is unmanned combat aircraft. Often called loyal wingmen, these systems will fly alongside manned jets, absorbing risk and expanding capability. Some will focus on air combat, others on deep strike missions, others on reconnaissance. A single carrier could deploy dozens, and suddenly the strike power multiplies without increasing pilot risk. But air power needs reach, and reach requires fuel. Extending the reach of war. The MQ-25 Stingray solves a problem that limited naval aviation for decades. It's an unmanned tanker. By refueling fighters mid-air, it extends their operational range dramatically. Missions that once required multiple carriers can now be handled by one, and the ships themselves are preparing for what comes next. Weapons that move at light speed. Ford-class carriers generate nearly 3 times the electrical power of older designs. Why? Directed energy weapons, lasers capable of destroying targets instantly without ammunition, invisible engagement, infinite magazine as long as power flows, missiles intercepted before they even close distance. And none of this works in isolation. One brain, many hands. The most dangerous aspect of carrier warfare is integration. The Naval Integrated Fire Control System links every sensor and weapon across the strike group, a